So I'm trying new angles this time. Y'all have been very good at giving me suggestions, and I really appreciate it. So, thank you. Hope you like my little coffee cup. Today's a coffee necessity day. But also feeling a little froggy today. So there's an event going on tomorrow, but by the time I post it, it'll be long already past due. So I don't even know why I say that's going to be tomorrow. Stop rambling. Back to what's on point. Sorry, I'm having a unicorn day. None of my kids are here, so it's just me. So I actually can do one of those few things, like finish a sentence. And I kind of don't know how I feel about that, you know. I'm excited, but it's kind of like, whoo, where do I go from here? Anyway, so with that being said, I need to wrap this up before they pop in. And I'm thinking about making some gluten, egg, tree nut, peanut, dairy-free chocolate cake pops. Let's get started. First, I need to cream my vegan butter. There's lots of different types of vegan butters out there. Some of them are soy-free, some of them aren't. So you just kind of have to figure out and look at the ingredients list. There's also recipes out there on how to make your own. And later on in my figuring out this whole YouTube being I don't even know if those are words, don't really do hair. I would like to make it because I think it's fun. So, put that on high because I want to cream it. That looks good. I'm gonna chop this down and I'm going to hurry up and smush down my sides. I always want to smush down my sides because I want to make sure that all of my ingredients are incorporated as neatly and as well as possible. Next up, I'm going to, like I said earlier, cream my sugar. But I like to be a little sneaky. I like to add, if I'm making something with chocolate, like chocolate cake, I like to add my cocoa powders. What's that? I said powders. I add 2 different types of cocoa powder into mine. I add the regular unsweetened cocoa powder that you would find, and then I find the special dark cocoa powder. I like that. And I have found that with the special dark cocoa powder, it gives it like a little extra grippy bitterness to it. It probably doesn't make that face, and that's okay. But I like to mix that first before I cream everything. That way the butter and the cocoa powders mesh well a little bit. Then while that's going on, I'll add my sugars. Well, sugar. I don't know why I've pluralized that. But I'll mix those together. So I'll pause this real quick and I will scrape it down the sides. And I want y'all to see what I'm talking about because it's like a crumbly mess right now. Trust me, there's a method to my madness. So this is just the butter and the sugar as well as the 2 cocoa powders. And like I said, I just like to cream it up a little bit, kind of get it mixed up. I'm sure you'd much rather look at this than this, but we're back. And then I'll add my vanilla, and I view vanilla the same way that I view garlic. You know, whenever a recipe says that you only need to add like a teaspoon of garlic to something or like a teaspoon of vanilla to something, I laugh at the recipe in its face and I just go, I'll let my ancestors tell me when to stop. And then I'm going to add my egg replacer, which again, I decided to go again with the flaxseed. And it is that lovely 3 hot tablespoons of water mixed with 2.5 teaspoons of ground flaxseed. Turn that off. Don't splatter it everywhere like last time. Last time I started making a flaxseed string. Mess everywhere. Don't recommend that. And I just kind of throw that in there and I let that all kind of cream together. So usually you will add your dry ingredients, you'll mix them together, which is typically your baking soda or your baking powder, your salt, and your flour. I am a little weird. It is what it is. And I like to add my baking soda and my salt to my mixture while it's doing this, and then I'll add my flour last. So in here is my baking powder, baking soda, and my salt. So I'm gonna dump that bad boy in here. Yeah. Drop this down, and then I scrunchie it around or move it around, make sure that there's no like little soda clumps. And that's one of the reasons why I like to do that, because I've had bad situations where I've bitten into things and there's like a big clump of baking soda. I don't know how that happens. You know, some people recommend sifting your flour and your baking soda and stuff like that together before mixing in here. If you want to take that extra step, go ahead. I don't always have time to do things like that, so I just go ahead and mix it in this. It seems to work out well for me for right now, and that's what I'm going to keep doing. But if you are one of those that likes to use a sifter and you like to do it that way, then you know what? Keep doing what works for you. Nothing's wrong with that either. I've done both, but I like this method a little bit easier. Now, next step is mixing your gluten-free flours. I am using, again, Bob. He's my dude. I like him. He's my one-to-one baking flour mix. And like I said with Bob, one of the things that I like about him, for the most part, he's pretty on point about your mixing. But there are some other recipes that I have where I have to add a little extra, or I have to add a little extra liquid. But I have found that is the case with a lot of other gluten-free flours. And I think it might have to deal with the amount of starch or rice flour that is put into those gluten-free flours. But I'm not a trained professional in any way, shape, or form. To me, it makes sense because rice absorbs a lot of moisture, and so can cornstarch. But I don't know. As far as milk goes, this recipe is going to be dairy-free. And it calls for half a cup of moo juice, but I'm not going to be using moo juice. I'm going to be using coconut milk. Now, some of you might be saying, hold up, wait a minute. I thought you said that this was going to be tree nut free. And the answer to that is yes, it is tree nut free. Here's a fun fact. Coconuts are not a tree nut. They're a fruit. Just like nutmeg is also not a nut. It's a seed. So I think people automatically assume that it's a nut because the word nut's in it, which is understandable. When I first came into allergy world, I didn't know. It wasn't until I started doing research, and you find out all sorts of interesting fun facts, like, cinnamon. Not a lot of people know that it's bark. Bananas, the tree, it's not a tree. It's actually a succulent. But lots of fun facts. Anyway, what I like to do is take this guy and kind of go back and forth to kind of help blend it in. Now, I'm not waiting until the flour is fully in there before I start adding this in. I'm just going a little bit at a time, just to kind of help it mesh well. I don't know why this is my thing today, but it makes me happy, and I feel like I have to shrink because I'm learning how to do my videoing. So eventually I will have better equipment to make the things be seen better, but until then, please do bear with me. In fact, I think this time what I'll do is I'll have the camera look here, so that way you can see what I'm talking about. All right, so here's the batter before I start adding stuff. Go with a little bit of flour. All right, feeling a little dry there. Gonna add some coconut. There we go. Then you get some more coconut. I mean, not coconut, flour. And I'll get some more in there. Put that in there. And we'll just kind of let all of that mix in. But the next thing to this is, believe it or not, hot coffee. So we're going to pour hot coffee in there. We're just going to do that. Now, you may have noticed that I added coffee into this. And you might be like, excuse you, hold up. Did you just add coffee into that? Black, hot, fresh coffee into your cake mix? And I will say yes. Yes, I did. The reason why I did that is it helps to enhance the chocolate flavor. So that is a fun fact. And coffee is amazing, as well as one of my blood types. The second one being sweet tea. So how can you not? Anyway, the next step is to take this and put it in this pan. Does it have to be pretty? No, because we're going to destroy it after it bakes. So woohoo on that one. All right, I have it all spread out. Now I'm going to stick it in the oven for about 18 minutes, maybe 20, until the, what is that word? Toothpick is completely clear, because remember, it is gluten-free stuff. Gluten-free stuff does not like to have any remnants. And then I'll be back. I made some chocolate frosting to go into our cake mix. We're going to first crumble up our cake. I didn't have a bowl available. I'm using this cake pan. It'll be fine. I'm also only using one hand to try and record this, so don't judge me, especially with the camera angle. It'll be fine. Anyway, I'm grabbing clumps, crumbling it up. That's how I roll. So that's looking pretty good, I think. You want to try and get it as fine as possible. Then after you get all those little crumbly bits, see, nice and clean, love it. Then I'm going to add in a scoop or two of frosting. Now, here's the thing with frosting. You don't want to add too much. You don't want to add too little. It's kind of like the Three Bears, Goldilocks and Three Bears. Know that story? Anyway, you're going to stir, mix this up until it's well combined. Once it's well combined, I'm going to show you a little trick. Here's the trick. You grab a piece, you roll it up. Think of it like Play-Doh. I know this doesn't look like Play-Doh. Don't judge me. Anyway, you squeeze it. If you don't see any cracks and it looks pretty smooth, then it's good to go. Let's do it again. So we roll it up, and now we're going to start to squeeze it like so. Yep, pat it down, pat it down. Now I'm going to squeeze. Yep, nice and smooth, no cracks. Okay, so I know it's good. Now I'm going to take my scoop to try and measure out my cake pops. Hubby had to help me out here because apparently I'm not an octopus and I don't have extra limbs. So thank you, hubby. You're my hero of the day. I felt lovey-dovey, so I decided to get my little heart measuring tool out and use it as an impromptu scoop to make my little heart shape. See, isn't it cute? I think it's kind of adorable and very romantic. So thank you for zooming in, honey. I really appreciate that. So cute. 1, 2, 3, and there's 4. So, yep, there's my hearts. So I popped them in the fridge for about 30 minutes. That way they're nice and cold. I melted some allergen-friendly chocolate, and then I dipped them into the chocolate. And you want to shake that off as much chocolate as possible because that weight is going to be heavy. You can lay them down, but I decided to be extra and have it upright. Probably not a wise idea, but I did. So after I let the chocolate set, put it back in the fridge, and it got hard, I did this. I also went to the $1.25 tree and Wally World, found some romantically themed straws, and I dipped those in chocolate and put those on. I also drizzled a little extra chocolate to make it a little fancier, and I made some frost sprinkles, added pink and sugar. So there you have it. And this is it. I kind of feel like I'm showing some type of makeup blush brush thing. I don't know. I don't really do these things. So anyway, here I go. Pop it in my face. It was really good, creamy. It was a good bite. You know, I took a bite. It's still sticking onto the cake pop stick, and it's what you want. It wasn't dry. It wasn't too messy. It was just a really nice texture, you know, what you want, and I loved it. It never fails. Anytime there's chocolate, someone, usually this one, will want it. Well, it's fine. I'll share. Is it good? No, she liked it. Okay, cool. Now go away. Anyway, I can't always have the things I want, but that's fine. It's life. Mom life. But anyway, I'm learning how to do this whole voiceover thing, so thank you for sticking around. I hope you learned a few things. I hope you enjoyed and had some fun, and I'll see you later. Make stuff